In this video, we're going to talk about some special right triangles. Now, I'm going to show you this first on the math chart. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This information is actually given to you on the math chart right here. Special right triangles, 30, 60, 90 triangles, and 45, 45, 90 triangles. Now, I printed it a little larger here for you, so I'm going to zoom back out. You may want to pause the video for a second and make sure you write these down. I'm going to walk through them with you, but I want to make sure you know how to use them. So go ahead and pause the video real quick, and we'll come back and talk about how to use them. Now, sometimes these triangles are called 30, 60, 90 triangles and 45, 45, 90. Now, the way it's written on this chart, you have to understand a little bit. Let's take an example and see if we can make sense out of it. Let's say we have a triangle that looks like this, and they tell us this. Well, since a triangle's angles equal 180, minus 90 for this angle gives me 90, minus 45 for this angle, the other angle has to be 45 degrees also. So this is one of the special triangles. This is called an isosceles triangle. Sometimes you'll see it even written like this, where they have a line across it, meaning that line and that line, they match each other. Now, sometimes they don't have a line, but if there is a line, you'll know what it is, because it's one line and one line. It's isosceles triangle. Let's say that they told us this distance was 12, and they want to know this. Well, if we do it the way we did it in the last video, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the Pythagorean theorem, you're going to end up getting values that you can use along the way. So let's see what we get. C is the longest side, so let's say that's C, this is A, and this is B. Well, if these angles are the same, then that means the sides opposite them are also. So this one's also a 12. Let me say that again. If this is 45 degrees, the angle, and then this side opposite, and this is 45, that means the length of the opposite side. So if this is 45 degrees, and it's 12, if this is 45 degrees, then this is also 12, so they're the same length. 12 times 12, if you don't know this, use your calculator. 12 times 12. Now, let's see if I can get my calculator to work right. 12 times 12 equals 144. And that's going to be the same for both of them, equals c squared. So 144 plus 144 equals 288. 288 equals c squared. Now, to make my life a little bit easier, I already know that this is the same as 144 times 2. And since it is 144 times 2, when I go to take the square root, well, the square root of 144, so if I take 144 and I take the square root, that's 12. I get 12, and the square roots of 2 are left. That's actually my answer. That's how I can abbreviate it. And so what that means is this side right here is 12 square roots of 2. Now look what has happened here. 12, 12, 12 square roots of 2. If you have a 45, 45, 90, you're going to have a triangle that has a number, and then that number times the square root of 2, and we just proved that. Okay? Let's do it again with smaller numbers and see what we get, just to make sure that we are correct. Those were bigger numbers, but let's see if we can get it. Let's say this same triangle, this was 3, and this is x. Actually, we'll make it easier than that. Let's make it a 2. So if that's a 2, that's a 2. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 squared is 4, equals c squared. So that's 8 equals c squared. Well, 8 is 4 times 2, so that when I take the square root, and I take the square root of that, well, the square root of 4 is 2, Square roots of 2 is all that's left. So this becomes 2 square roots of 2. Now notice again, 2, 2, 2 square roots of 2. So whenever you have two 45-degree angles, you're going to have a number, and then a number times the square root of 2. It always works out that way. So let's say that they gave us a triangle that looks like this, and we don't know this. Do we know that answer? We could do the math to get it, or if we notice that they're the same angles, this one has to be a 2. They're both 45s. So that's how a 45, 45, 90, or an isosceles triangle works. Isosceles triangle. Okay? So let's try the other one. Okay? The 30, 60, 90. Let's say we have one like this. Let's say this is 30 degrees, and this is 10, and this is x, and they want to know angle and x. Well, doing quick math, 180 is how much the angles have to add up to, so minus 90 is 90, minus 30 is 60. So this is a 60-degree angle. It's a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. Now, it's going to say for 30, 60, 90 that it's x, x square roots of 3, and 2x. Let's see if that's right. See if we get our answer. Okay, well, how are we going to do that? Well, notice the order, 30, 60, 90, x. Well, if I take and match them up, 30 with this, that's x, 60 is going to be with that, 90 is going to be 2x. If that means that if whatever 90 is going to be 2 times x, well, if 2x equals 10, divide by 2, x equals 5, that means that x had to be 5, and if I follow the order, 30 was x, okay, 60 is x square roots of 3, so x is 5, so this is 5 square roots of 3, and 90 was 2 times x. Well, let's check our work. If we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared, if c squared is 100, so c is the longest side, a and b, it doesn't matter which is which really when we do this. A, 5 times 5 is 25, plus 5 square roots of 3 squared. Okay? It means we multiply it times itself. Well, 5 times 5 is 25, but the square root of 3, let's see, do we remember this? Square root of 3 squared? Oh, yeah, remember, squared knocks out the square root. So it's really square root of 3 times square root of 3, which is the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3 times 3, so the answer is 3. Okay, so this squared is 3. 25 times 3 is 75. Is 25 plus 75 equal to 100? Yeah, so I did it right. So if I follow the pattern here, 30, 60, 90 is x, x square roots of 3, and 2x. I can figure out my answer pretty easily. Since they gave me the 10 and it was equal to 2x, I figured out what x was 5. And then if I knew they match up. So just make sure you understand, 30 is with x, 60 is with x square roots of 3, and 90 is with 2x. So since this was 2x, I knew that x was 5, so I got that. If I needed this side also, the one across from the 60, that's how you do the sides. 30 is the opposite side, 60 has the opposite side, and I get my answers. In the next video, you'll get to try a couple and see how you do. These can be a little difficult. Be very careful. But the important part is this is already given to you on the formula chart. You just have to use it to get your answers. Let's see how you do in the next video. Good luck.